up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like the video. This is the final season for Claws. Now, I love Claws. I know it's taking me a while to get around to doing these reviews, but I do love Claws. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The way this final season is starting off is already kind of making me feel some kind of way. Because we know we ended last season with Anne burning down the casino, and so we're starting back at this season with Desna and the ladies pretty much back at square one, where they don't have any money and they're clamoring to make ends meet. And I'm thinking to myself, the casino didn't have no insurance. Maybe I missed that part. Last season was 2 years ago, so maybe there's something in that I'm missing. But neither here nor there. Anne and Desna are still at odds. I mean, Anne burned down the casino. Desna got Anne's wife, well, didn't get Anne's wife killed, but didn't help in the matter. And so that's kind of where we start off. Desna shows up at the nail salon. She got braids, and she's letting the ladies know, listen, we are good to go. We're going to be all right. The casino's gone, but we still good. We got the nail salon. We still laundering Uncle Daddy's money, and we getting paid for the pill license. So we good to go. Until... and they also got cleared of any criminal charges because, you know, that was a whole situation. Now, they were good to go until Desna decides that she is going to check her mail, and they have quadrupled her rent. Well, tripled her rent. And she's like, what in the world? And, of course, she tries to call corporate, and nobody's answering the phone. So her and the ladies go down there. They like, listen, we need to figure out what's going on here. They go down there, they go to the office and find out that it is just a shell. But they also find out that this company basically is they gentrify. So essentially they're jacking the rent up on the plaza to push them out so they could take the land and repurpose it, probably put a Whole Foods up or a Trader Joe's or something like that. Now, while that's going on, Dean has decided he wants to become Instagram influencer, but poor baby don't have but one following. Okay, he don't have but one following, and so he actually seeks out Virginia to help him. And him and Virginia are kind of walking around on eggshells around each other because Virginia and her little boo thing, they done broke up, so she back. We see where she helps him, and she tells him, because she watches his live, and of course it's boring, he's basically trying to create a program of a question and answer, but he's answering questions about, like, the history of jump rope, stuff like that. And so she tells him, listen, you got to give the people something they want, give them a little bit, and, and so Dean takes that as, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. For every question that you ask, I'll take off a piece of clothing. And, of course, we know Dean don't have no problem getting naked. We know he was a male dancer child. And so, by the end of this episode, Dean got thousands and thousands and thousands of viewers watching him strip on Instagram. He gets down to his drawers, and then he'll twerk a little for you, okay? So, that's what we got going on with Dean. Now, Uncle Daddy has turned 120% to the dark side. Clint finds him at some private dive club where he's MMA fighting and basically just being a hard ass. And Clint is like, listen, what's really going on here? And he said, listen, pretty much after I killed the priest, it's pretty much all downhill from there. And Clint was like, okay, I thought we wasn't going to talk about that. And he says, listen, I need, he tells them like they're tripling the rent on the club. And he said, well, you know what? I'm not even worried about that. I was ready to close the club down anyway. So you know what? We might as well go ahead and shut it down. And he said, well, what about the pill clinic? I mean, they tripled the rent on that too. He said, well, I ain't worried about that because we about to, it's harvesting season and we about to be, we about to have more pills than we know what to do with. He said, them people from West Virginia going to be coming down and we're going to be good to go. He said, you sure we got enough pills? And he was like, yeah. And he said, look, Uncle Daddy, I can run everything. Like, if you're going to be down here fighting and whatever else you're doing down here, put me in charge. Like, now that, your boy is gone, let me take over. Put me in, coach. And Uncle Daddy is kind of like, nah, um, I'm still mourning the death of my people, of my two sons, and I'm just not ready for that yet. But y'all know poor Clint been trying to get in where he fit in from the beginning of this situation, child. So, Anne, who's been banished from the nail shop, and y'all know how Desna is. Desna is one of those, nobody talk to Anne because I'm not talking to Anne. Sorry about that. Nobody talk to Anne because I'm not talking to Anne kind of thing. And the ladies all go to visit Anne. I mean, they find Anne. She's living in a trailer park. She's not eating. She's pregnant, and she's really not doing that well. I mean, her spirits are okay, but I mean, she's not living good. She don't have a job. And so she says, listen, y'all don't have to worry about me. I got a degree from Yale. And they were like, yeah, but you also have a criminal record too. And so she tries to go get a job at, a college. And of course, the minute they saw a felon on her on her record, they couldn't help her. And then they, the ladies try to give her a pep talk and say, girl, you don't have to work at you don't have to work at some snotty university. You can find a job. You'll be all right, And of course, we see her try to get any multitude of jobs that she's not able to get. She asked the ladies about when can she come down to the shop to get the rest of her stuff, and they told her, she said, when is Desmond not gonna be there? And they said, well, she won't be here, tomorrow evening, and it's okay for you to come. So she's like, okay, cool, I'll be there to come and get my stuff. So once Desna realizes that she's not going to be able to finesse her way with this rent increase because it's a fake company. Well, I mean, it's a real company, but that's a fake office. She decides that she's going to increase her charge for what she charges Uncle Daddy for the pill license. Now, y'all know Uncle Daddy ain't here for that. Uncle Daddy ain't never been here for that. And Uncle Daddy lets her know, listen, Desna, that's not going to happen. Ain't nothing increasing. And Desna was like, okay, fine. Then I'm going to pull my license. And he was like, well, no, because we have a legally binding contract. I got 2 more years on that thing. So, if you want to take it to court, we can. But, yeah, it ain't nothing you can do about that. She says, how could you do this? Roller, he was like, oh, so that's what you think because we both lost the same person, that somehow I owe you, or that we are somehow family now. He was like, nah, do what you gotta do, deal with it. And she said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do what I have to do, and this is how I'm gonna deal with it. I'm not gonna launder your money anymore. And he was like, what you mean you're not gonna launder my money anymore? She said, just what I said. So go ahead, you keep your pill license. You can, but if you're not trying to help me out, then I ain't trying to help you out. I'm going to take my business elsewhere. And I wasn't sure if he, I don't know if she think that I don't know if he believes her or not, but the look on his face was kind of like, is she really going to do that? Is she really going to do it? So then, she goes back to the shop and she lets the girls know, that Uncle Daddy turned her down. She said, but don't worry about it because we're going to start our own, basically we're going to start selling our own Oxy. I have the license. And they were like, well, where you going to get Oxy from? We don't have a clinic, we don't have a doctor, we don't have nothing. What do you mean? And she was like, oh, but we do. So next thing you know, they talking to the doctor. And they convinced him to help them steal some drugs from Uncle Daddy. They were like, we know that the clinic is full. We know that y'all got all the Oxy that y'all need over there. So we just going to steal some. And he was like, are you serious? I'm scared of Uncle Daddy. They said, but you already skimming. He's talking about who told you that. Don't worry about who told us, but you skimming. And then, of course, they tried to play on his heartstrings and was like, well, what's the girl? The redhead. She loves a man that takes control. Because y'all know he's still in love with her child. But she pining after old boy from the casino. She's still thinking about him. And she misses him and everything. And all the ladies have told her to move on. Because, he don't mean her no good. And he is married, girl. Move on. But anyway, he agrees to help Desna and them rob the clinic. So he lets them in and they steal some drugs. And they get on out of there. Now, one of the employees at the clinic, the black woman, she saw them coming in. She knew that they were in there, but hell, she was in there stealing drugs her damn self. So I don't know if it's but so much that she gonna say, but she said Uncle Daddy gonna kill all of y'all is what she told them. So, so at this point, child, they done got Dr. Cannon on their scheme, and they done got the drugs, and they making money. They got the money, rolling in. But next thing you know, you look up, and who comes walking up into the salon? Uncle Daddy to get a manicure, a manicure. But here's what's interesting. Uncle Daddy didn't even know about the drugs yet. He was just coming in there to try to intimidate Desna about not laundering her money. But Desna let him know, listen, you don't scare me, and I'm not changing my mind, because he was like, I came here to, try to get you to, renegotiate. He was like, she was like, I'm not, he said, I'm not said, I'm not renegotiating anything. Like, no, I said it, I meant it, I ain't renegotiating. And so Uncle Daddy was like, I tried to be nice to you, but I mean, if you're going to make me play hardball, then that's what I'm going to have to play hardball. Now, mind you, the other ladies are in the back about to pee their pants, because, they are absolutely terrified of Uncle Daddy. But Desna, she stands in it, and because of course they didn't already started selling the drugs, and she already felt like she got her little money thing going on. And I'm thinking to myself, girl, when Uncle Daddy find out, he gonna kill all y'all. But in the meantime and in between time, Desna is standing in her ish, and she's like, oh well, I ain't doing no business with you. Now, Holly is upset. Holly say that she misses Joe, especially since she found out Joe was the one that helped Ann burn down the casino. She said, well, why didn't he ask me to help? Not why did he burn down the casino, but why didn't he ask me to help? So she decides that, oh shoot. Karuchi talks to her and tells her she needs to just find some closure. And she says, well, this is exactly, I know how to find closure, and this is how I'm going to find it. Baby, she burns the man's car up. That was how she decided she was going to find closure. Now, back at the nail salon, Ann rolls in on the ladies. And Ann is like, y'all set me up, because Desna is there. And, of course, remember, they told Ann that Desna wasn't going to be there, because Desna don't want to see Ann, and Ann don't want to see Desna. But they get into an argument again. Once again, well, you did this and you did that to me. Well, it was your fault that this happened. It was your fault that that happened. And, Ann was like, well, I don't regret it. Like, you're talking about a building. Like, my whole fiance is gone and you ruined my life. Like, how could you compare the two? You are selfish, narcissistic, and again, they got to arguing again. And then, of course, they got to arguing back and forth and calling each other names. And child, you know how that goes. You start saying stuff you can't take back. So she puts Ann out. Ann leaves, tells her basically, go to hell, and Ann said, I'll meet you there, kind of thing. And Desna goes back into her office, and she starts reminiscing on better times with her and Ann, right? Ann is walking across the parking lot to her van, and guess what she sees over at the food truck having a conversation? Uncle Daddy. And she rolls up on Uncle Daddy, and she wants to know what he's doing. And he said, well, I'm trying to have a conversation, but the person speaks Japanese, and I can't get no business done. So Ann takes the phone and ends up having the whole conversation in Japanese. And Uncle Daddy's like, oh my goodness, well, howdy doody. And she says, maybe we can do maybe we can do some business together. And he was like, well, what could you do for me? She said, well, I can launder your money. Because remember, now mind you, Polly and them just spilled the whole thing to Ann. When they went to go visit Ann, they done told Ann the whole story about how they robbed the clinic and how they ain't laundering the money for Uncle Daddy anymore. They done told the whole damn story. And Desna basically told the ladies, like, y'all can't keep going behind my back and talking to Ann. Either you with me or you against me. But you can't play both sides. And, of course, they were like, we grown. We can be friends with whoever the hell we want to be friends with. So, Ann is talking to Uncle Daddy, and she said, "Oh yeah, and I tell you what else. If you pay me, put me on your payroll, I'll tell you who stole your drugs." Uncle Daddy said, "Somebody stole my drugs?" She said, "Uh-huh. And I'll tell you who it is as soon as you agree that you're going to put me on your payroll." He said, "Okay." He said, "Who stole my drugs?" She said, "Desna." Baby, Uncle Daddy got so mad, and Desna was looking. She saw them talking, and I'm sure she figured out what Uncle Daddy said. What she said to Uncle Daddy, because he got up and he started walking across that parking lot, and she started walking towards him, and she was like, "What's up?" She said, "What's good?" And that's where the episode ended. So that was episode 1. I'm about 5 episodes behind, but we're going to get caught up as fast as possible. Anyway, talk to y'all later. Peace.